To prepare the sealer, you're going to need the following items. You're going to need the part A of the gloss sealer, the part B of the gloss sealer. You're going to need the quart measuring container, the can opener, and a stir stick. Okay, now we're ready to mix the sealer. We're going to open up the part A. And you're going to put in the amount that you want. I am going to probably put in, mix up about 20 ounces, so I'm going to need 15 ounces of part A. And we're going to do about 5 ounces of the part B to keep that 3-to-1 ratio. Here we go, right at the 20. Now in the kit you'll have enough for 32 ounces. So that'll be more than enough to cover 60 square feet. You're going to mix this up for about 3 minutes. You want to scrape the sides. And then we're just going to mix this up for about 3 minutes. I'm going to let this sit then, and I'm going to let it just sit for about 7 to 10 minutes. That way it'll fully activate, and then we're ready to start applying the sealer onto the countertop. Okay, the first thing that we want to do is, we've got the roller. We want to load up the roller a little bit with some distilled water, and that's basically just misting a little bit. You don't want it soaking wet, but you want it to just get a little bit absorbed into the water absorbed into the microfiber roller, because this way it'll kind of save some of your sealer, so your roller won't suck up all the sealer by itself. Okay. We're going to start from the back and work our way forward. I've let this sit for about, I don't know, 8 to 10 minutes. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get the top of the backsplash. So I'm going to go over it real quick with just a quick coat. And you want to get the edge, the backsplash, out far enough where your roller is going to be able to pick up where you left off. Slide over here. I get that first real thin coat, so it just basically covers it, and then I put another coat or two over top of it just to give it a little more thickness to it. And you got to remember, when you're doing anything vertical, you can't put it on real thick because it will run. So you're going to want to do some thin coats. Now that I've got the top done, I'm going to get in this edge, and I'm just going to get the top a little bit, and then the bottom a little bit. And ideally I want the bottom out enough where it's covered, so when I put my roller to it, it's going to be meeting to where the sealer is already. Now the CrystalTop sealer takes about 12 to 14 hours for it to cure where it's dry to the touch. So if you do it the next day in the afternoon, it should be definitely dry to the touch. I always recommend keeping your AC at 76 degrees or lower. That'll actually help it to cure a little bit. So if you have it at a higher temperature like 85 or something like that, it's going to cure, but it's just going to take a little bit longer to cure. So now that we've got that part done, I'm going to take some of the and just pour some on the countertop. And I'm going to roll the roller into it to load the rest of the roller up with the sealer. And now it is soaked with the sealer, and I'm going to do a coat across the backsplash. Now the sealer, as you can see, the consistency is kind of like whole milk. Now as you roll it on and it sits, it goes on milky, but it will clear up as it starts to dry out or as it starts to cure. All right, now that I've got this, I want to go across the edges. Again, very tight, because we don't want it to run. And this is why we keep the plastic below, so in case it does drip, it's going to drip on the plastic. Okay, now we can put enough to cover the countertop. Again, I'm going to load this up a little bit. Now I'm just going to pull it from front to back. And this is basically, I'm doing a real kind of thin coat just to cover it. And I am going to go back over this with one more coat just to make it just a little bit thicker. But it's already starting to get a little thicker here towards the end here. All right, now that we've got it coat down, I'm going to do this one more time across. And pour a little bit more there. And maybe just a touch here. But the idea is now we're just going to put another coat down and run it across here, just making it even. Now, you don't want to put too much sealer on. And you can tell if you're putting too much sealer on because the roller will actually start to slide. So you want to make sure you keep pulling it out. And there we go. Now, I'm going to do, because it's going to run off the edge a little bit, so I always go back and just make sure I get any drips. All right, that's what it's sealed. Now, once it kind of looks dull right now, and it looks a little milky, but once this dries out, probably in the next 15-20 minutes, it'll really start to give a crystal clear look to it. And all right, getting around the sink sometimes is a little bit tricky, so I just wanted to show you as far as how I go about doing the sealing with the sink in place, and you got the faucet that you got to get around. Of course, you do the top. And now, once I've got the top, I'm going to start at the bottom, and I am going to get into that tough corner. And if you see here, just so you can see it, I start right here, and I want to get this edge, so when I come through with my roller, it'll cover everything, it'll hit that. So I want to get in there. I want to just make sure, since I've got the tape against my sink, I can just push that in there and just make sure that I've got a nice amount back there, but not too much. Just want to make sure that you got everything covered back there. Now, I'm going to run the roller back here as well. So normally, since I'm pushing up against this and it's down in, I'm going to actually go a little higher than what I normally do, because I just want to make sure that I get all the sealer on all parts of the countertop. So now, we're going to take the roller and I'm going to go through. Now, if it's so tight that you've got your sink or your faucet might bump up against it, definitely put some tape there so that you don't get your faucet with the sealer. And again, you just want to make sure you get it tight so that you don't have any runs. And there you have it. Here's a quick tip. Once you have removed everything and you're pretty much done, what I do is I'll make sure I have my gloves, and I'll do a last part where I will skim underneath that edge just to make sure that there's nothing there that's going to drip. Go all the way across and do that for each countertop. Another tip is If you've got a stove and it's going to be tight, don't put the stove back. Wait until the next day once it's dry, and then put the stove back. Once you've completely sealed the countertops, you can now carefully remove the blue tape. You can also remove the tape and drape that's below the countertops. To help the countertops cure, it is best to have your AC set at 76 degrees or lower. The counters will be dry to the touch in about 12 hours, but allow your counters to be cured for a good 48 hours before placing heavy items on your counters, like blenders and toaster ovens. Once your countertops are cured, you can clean your countertops with any non-abrasive cleaner, like dishwashing soap and water, Clorox wipes, Windex, any of the Greenworks products, or vinegar water.